What's going on, everybody? It is Kevin here from Eau Claire. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We are going to talk about quite a bit today. So last week I put out a video. We'll go through it as well if you didn't see it, but I put out a video on hypertrophy in the gym. I gave out all the different steps that you need to take in order to see muscle growth within the gym, all right? And today we are going to build on all of that knowledge. We're going to take what we do in the gym and we're going to pair it with what we do outside of the gym, which is arguably just as, if not more important than what we do in the gym, all right? It is super important that we are doing the things in the gym that we need to do to get stronger, but we have to complement it with those things outside of the gym. Those things include nutrition and sleep as well. So we're gonna talk mostly about nutrition today. I'll give you some tips, some tricks, some guidelines to help you on your quest for muscle. So if you did not see that video from last week about hypertrophy in the gym, here is a super quick recap without a ton of detail. What you are trying to do while you're in the gym, okay? Especially when you're at burn. I know we're not at burn right now, but when you get back, you want to work in that 6 to 12 rep range, all right? 6 reps to 12 reps, all right? If we tell you to do something for 20 reps, then I still want you working within these 6 to 12. Pick a weight that you can only do for 8 or 10, maybe it's 10, so that'll get you halfway, and you couldn't possibly do 11. You have to take that break, and then you do another set of 10 to get that at 20, and then maybe that's when you switch with your partner. You have to be working in those rep ranges and feeling the burn, and it has to be difficult. So 6 reps to 12 reps, anywhere within there, all right? Number 2, it has to be with close to failure. Has to be at 1 rep before failure or at failure if at all possible as well, okay? So when you're in the gym, again, I want you to be able to do, maybe you could have pumped out 1 more rep on whatever exercise you're doing, but you couldn't possibly do another one after that. That is close to failure. You know you're close to failure when in those muscles, whatever you're working, your arms, your legs, your chest, you feel that burn and it gets very, very difficult, okay? That's how you know you're close to failure. But if you're not in the gym right now, okay, you're at home, the 6 to 12 rep range is only for specific things. If you have weights for that, perfect. If you can find an exercise where you're doing 6 reps and it's tough, excellent. But many times you're going to need to up that rep range. The most important piece is that you are working to failure, okay? You're getting as close to failure as possible, no matter how many reps in a row you have to do, okay? So you're gonna hear me say things in the gym or say things over Zoom, like go for as long as possible today, ladies, try to reach failure, things like that. That is going to really stimulate that muscle growth. You have to work it in a little different way, ideally when you're at home, because maybe you don't have those heavy weights around you, and you will get back to it, but for the time being, you have to go for longer. Go for more time under tension. A lot of you have heard that term, more time that the muscle is working to increase that hypertrophy, all right? So your failure is that closest piece. You want to get as close to failure as possible. You also want to have as short of rest periods as possible as well. So let's just say you're doing a set of 10, you couldn't possibly do 11, okay? You're gonna drop those weights, you're gonna shake it out, you're gonna get back to it, take a couple deep breaths, and then wrap it out again, okay? As quickly as possible. You don't want to let those muscles recover too much. You don't want to give them too much of a break, because you want to work them as much as possible. You want to feel that burn. You want to get to failure as many times as you can to enhance that hypertrophy, to build that muscle. So that is a quick, short recap. There was a lot more in that, but that is the bread and butter of everything that was in that video. So today we are going to talk a lot about nutrition. That's what you should do inside the gym. Here's what you'll do outside the gym. So we'll talk about nutrition. First thing we're gonna get into are macros, all right? Many people you've heard about these things, especially if you've had a focus meeting and we've talked about nutrition. Macros are protein, fats, and carbohydrates. So I'll kind of go through each one of those and we'll give you some guidelines on what you should be looking for and what you're going for. So we will start, that first macro is protein. Ladies, hear me when I tell you this right here. Protein is number 1. okay? Protein is number one. It always has to be number one, okay? Especially when you are going for muscle gain, and especially when you're at home as well, okay? When you're trying to recover, protein as well. Your body needs protein to build itself up, to replace the damaged cells, anything that maybe you had a hard workout and you need protein to replace that. So protein, my best advice is at all costs, get it, okay? A lot of you ask, okay, how much should I be getting during a day? I would say, couple things, okay? Number one, I would put it out there at least 100 grams daily, all right? At least 100 grams daily. You've probably heard that from your trainer or whoever you've been working with for your nutrition goals during your focus meetings. 100 grams is a good range right there, but ladies, what I'm going to tell you right now, I haven't, of all my time at Burn here and training all of you, I haven't come across someone who is getting too much protein. All right, I haven't come across someone that's getting too much protein. I find that protein, especially within my own life, is not something that, oh, I trip and fell and oops, I got too much protein today. That's not, you don't really get too much protein on accident. There's not just a whole bunch of protein in foods. It's not added to a whole bunch of things. So you have to be intentional about getting that protein, which makes it a lot harder to accidentally get it. So what I would tell you, especially now that you are at home, and you are working not on a floating floor, your body might feel a little more beat up. Maybe your knees and your ankles or your hips, they're not feeling that great. Your body needs some protein to help compensate for that, okay? Even if those workouts don't feel as intense or anything like that, your body is still getting a very solid stimulus. It's getting a solid workout and it's being challenged because of that floating floor. That's how much that makes a difference. But make sure you are getting enough protein at, I would say, at least 100 grams, but talk with your trainer. They're gonna give you a little better idea of where you're at based on body weights and your specific goals. But if you are going for muscle, if you're going to build muscle and gain hypertrophy, you are going to definitely want to get as much protein as possible. All right, so that is protein. Up next, we will talk about fats. So fats, all right, so before we start, these next two, so fats and carbohydrates, are going to be highly modifiable, all right, highly modifiable, and it completely depends on A, where are you at health-wise, B, what are your goals, what are you going for? So these are the two that we can really manipulate. We want to get the protein at all costs in a variety of situations. There's not really going to be too many situations where we tell you don't get this much protein, if we have any sort of health issues or something like that, that's when we might look into that. So talk with your trainer and set up a focus meeting so you can talk about, one-on-one with your trainer. But fats and carbs are those things that we can manipulate really, really well. So your body needs fats, all right? Your body needs fats. Fats provide a solid energy source. They have 9 calories per gram in them. So every gram of fat that you take in, that is 9 calories that your body needs to burn. So they provide and they store a lot of energy inside of those fat cells. So that is not necessarily a bad thing. More fat does not add to adipose tissue. Okay, more fat does not add to adipose tissue. That is going to be more so of where is your calorie deficit, calorie expenditure at? Are you eating more calories than you're expending? That is when that body will store adipose tissue. It is not about how many grams of fat that you are consuming, okay? Except when it comes into calories. So for fats, make sure, number one recommendation is that you are eating fats from whole foods and healthy sources. So things like high quality nut butters, so always the natural, the organic, almond butters, those kinds of things. If you're getting the standard peanut butter, I would really challenge you to go in your cupboard right now and look at what's in there. There are things called hydrogenated oils, okay? Those are trans fats. Those are one of the most unhealthy things that you could be putting in your body, okay? And peanut butter companies will just throw those in as well. So definitely something to look out for. You want natural, organic is best if you can afford it, if it's preferable. So natural is key though. Natural is key. So whole foods. So things like Things like meats are going to have natural fats in them as well. So getting fats is super, super important. As far as a range goes, again, like I started with, it's going to depend on what your goals are. A lot of times I'll tell ladies maybe within 40 to 60, something like that, a normal range of fats. You know, if you're eating a ton of meat all the time, or if you're having a ton of peanut butter or almond butter that you're snacking on, or anything like that where it's high in fats, then maybe we want to talk about that. We want to keep those fats in a healthy range, but they do and they are useful for providing energy. So again, with these next two, with fats and carbs, it's tough to give a blanket. I definitely don't want to give wrong information or give you a specific thing to do right here. But my biggest thing specifically is to talk with your trainer. They can work it out with you individually. So next up, we'll talk quickly about carbs and why you need those as well. All right, so carbs. Carbs are super, super, super important, all right? I would put these at number 2, all right? Not that I'm hating on fats, but carbs are super important because carbs are energy, all right? Carbs are energy. Most of the time, your body will break carbs, depending on what carb it is, what type you consume. Your body will break it up into things like glucose and fructose. Those simple molecules, those things your body can use. It can break those down into energy, send it to the cells. Your brain runs mostly on glucose, so you need carbohydrates, especially when you are as active as you are working on home workouts or when you're in at the gym as well, okay? So carbohydrates are super, super important, but they are also very, very easy to overdo, okay? Because carbs and sugar taste good, right? So companies will throw those carbs and throw sugar into all of their products because it tastes better, it makes you buy it. So always be sure you're checking labels, see how many carbohydrates are in there, and see how many grams of sugar are in there as well, okay? Sugar will be also broken down into glucose, so you kind of have to count those in the same deal. So carbohydrates, super important. Make sure, especially, you are fueling yourself. That is what your body is going to use for fuel for the workout. So we'll get into that a little bit, but again, talk with your trainer about how much specifically you should be getting. Kind of what I like to tell people, based on whatever their protein and their fats, how many calories that will give them, I'll say fill the rest up with carbs, all right? And we'll try to hit maybe a calorie goal or something like that. So, let's say fill the rest up with carbs. They are important. Don't necessarily try to avoid them. You need them for your workout. So those are carbs, all right? Next up, we're going to kind of get into a little bit of what your body might need. We're going to talk a little bit about BMR, all right? So big picture right here. So I just told you, for carbs, fill up the rest of your calorie goal with carbohydrates. That's kind of how I do it. But how many calories should you be getting, right? That is a good question, and obviously it depends on your goals. It depends on every person, on your metabolism. Best advice I can give you, get an in-body scan, all right? Hopefully you've had an in-body scan before. You can use that BMR, that basal metabolic rate, as kind of a guideline, all right? The BMR, what basal metabolic rate is the amount of energy that you expend doing absolutely nothing in a day outside of existing. All right, outside of existing. So the true test, you have to be in a fasted state, so there's as little digestion as possible. There you are trying to, and you're just kind of laying around for a little while, not breathing heavy, try not to blink as much, literally. So it's a crazy test. But BMR, that is the amount of energy that you do just existing. So breathing and exchanging oxygen inside your lungs with carbon dioxide, or just standing, any minimal amount of muscle use that you have to be using, brain activity, neurons firing in your nervous system, immune system, all of that kind of stuff is calculated within that BMR. So, but if you're working out, you are going to be exercising and you're going to be burning more calories than that. So don't just shoot for that. We're likely, especially when you're meeting with your trainer for a focus meeting, we're going to tell you shoot a little bit higher for that, especially if you are trying to build muscle. When you're building a building, you need resources, all right? Nothing is worse than when you're building a building and you don't have the resources to build it. It's impossible, right? It's impossible. So you need to feed your body. You need to be in a caloric surplus for that period of time when you're trying to build muscle, okay? When you're trying to build muscle. Then you can kind of back it down and you can drop that fat while maintaining some of that muscle mass. So that's kind of the step process right there. But BMR, if you haven't had an in-body scan, okay, when we get back to the gym, go for it. But otherwise, talk with your trainer. We have different methods we can kind of figure out to give you a good estimate of how many calories you should be hitting in a day, totally depending on your goals. So right now, go sign up for a focus meeting. All right, go sign up for a focus meeting and you can get it all figured out from there. All right, so now the practical pieces right here. Pre-workout meals, all right? Incredibly important, incredibly important. A lot of you have told me that, hey, it's hard for me to eat with some food in my, or hard for me to work out with food in my stomach. I don't feel good at that point. And likely it's because you probably weren't taking some of these recommendations that I'll give you right now, or you didn't know, and that's totally fine, all right? So these recommendations, always kind of test these out, feel out how you do and how you feel within your workouts. But I will always recommend that having food prior to a workout is always going to be better than not having food, okay? Even if you're in the, way in the morning and you feel like you have a little bit of morning sickness, it doesn't take much to get ready for a workout. So biggest thing, number one, not protein, okay? Carbohydrates. Remember, carbs are the energy source. That is what your body is going to use. If you are about 2 hours out, okay? So maybe it's 3:30 in the afternoon, you're at work and you're getting off work and you're gonna do the 5:30 p.m. camp, right? So you're about 2 hours out. I would say that if you can hit maybe 40 to 60 grams of carbs right off the bat, at that point, that is going to be a good goal, all right? To give you an idea, banana has about 27 grams, so 2 bananas worth, don't not necessarily have 2 bananas, but things like toast, anything else that has carbohydrates in them, and likely, fruit is a great option as well. Any other fruit, bananas, apples, pears, whatever you like to eat, oranges, those all have simply and easily digestible carbs in them. So if you are 2 hours out, you're going to want about 40 to 60 grams of carbohydrates. That's what I would tell you right off the bat. If you are about an hour out or less, as you get closer to that workout, it's going to be less and less and less that you would want to eat. So let's say, for example, a lot of you ladies wake up at 4:45. Well, you wake up earlier than that. You probably wake up at 4:40, get your workout clothes on, get downstairs, turn on the light, and log on, right? So your 4:45 a.m. camp is going. And you don't have any time beforehand. Literally, all I would do is I would maybe take your banana, take an apple, take some sort of fruit, take one big bite out of it, maybe half, maybe you're eating a quarter of that banana right off the bat, but then have that right away and then get into your workout because you're literally 5 minutes before. Some food is going to be better than nothing, and even a single bite can make all the difference. It can give you a couple extra carbs. Then, we'll get into this in a minute, but after, you'll be able to finish that fruit for those carbs afterwards. So, that is kind of the outline as far as carbs go. You would also, ideally, 30 minutes prior to camp, you would be taking some sort of pre-workout if you do that as well. So you can mix 1 scoop, 2 scoops in with however much water you want to taste, and then you got that workout going. But having that, having your Ignite, your pre-workout with some sort of carbohydrate source is going to be a great help for your workouts. You will feel energized and you will be giving your body exactly what you need in order to be successful. So that is my pre-workout meal and timing recommendation. Now we'll get into that post-workout meal. All right, so you just crushed that workout. It was a strength day. We were doing legs. Today is legs and plyo. So you did some legs and you are sore. Your legs are shaking. You crushed it, all right? First of all, fantastic job. You crushed your workout. That is the most important piece by far when it comes to building muscle, all right? If you don't give your body that stimulus, if you don't challenge those muscles, it's not gonna say that I need to build it. So you did it, all right? Biggest step accomplished. Now it is post-workout. What should my meal consist of? What should I eat? When should I eat it? Is there a window? What should I do? All right. first off, right off the bat, I don't want you to be scared that you will miss a so-called anabolic window, all right, or a building window where you have to get your protein in within 30 minutes or it is not effective, okay? That is and has been disproven for a long time, okay? That is not true. Your body does not run on a clock. It doesn't say, okay, as soon as 30 minutes are gone by, it's over with, your protein's gone, you lost it, the workout was useless. No, that's absolutely not the truth, okay? But what I will tell you is that the sooner you can get in your pre-workout meal, the better, all right? So let's just say you're going to, you are coming for the 5:30 p.m. camp, let's say. After work, you come for the 5 p.m. camp, 5:30, and then you crush it, and then at 6:15 when you are done, you want to, you know what, I gotta go over to Target, I gotta do some grocery shopping, and it's an hour, and you're grocery shopping or whatever, and it's an hour and a half before you get some food in. That's okay. That is not the end of the world. You didn't just waste a whole workout, okay? So that is the first thing I want you to understand, all right? But the sooner that you can get something in, the better. So if you know that that situation is going to happen, maybe bring a little bar, maybe you bring your tub of Afterburn and you have a scoop right after your workout. You grab some water, have your scoop, you drink it up, there's your protein right there, okay, as soon as you can, right? So that it would be a helpful thing right there. So pre-workout or post-workout meals, protein is going to be your number one. You've heard this all the time. We tell you to get your protein because it helps you recover, especially when you're not in the gym right now and you are, maybe doing a little more impacting on harder surfaces, not on that floating floor. Your body needs protein to recover, and we covered that earlier. But protein is that number one. You want to make sure, and I would tell you 20 to up to 45 grams of protein in a meal, in a serving, okay? So if you want to do 1 scoop of Afterburn, if you even want to throw in, 1.5 up to 2 maybe, that would probably be my max for you ladies. But if you have up to 2, let's go 1.5, let's say about 1.5, okay? 1.5 scoops of that Afterburn will give you definitely enough. There's about 24 grams in there, so you'll get about 40 grams of protein right there. Your body can use that. Much more than that at one time. It's not really going to be able to digest all of that at once, so that's going to be your window, 20 to 40 grams as soon as you can afterwards. Again, if you don't get it right away, not the end of the world, but sooner will be better, all right? So protein is number one, but number two in a close second that a lot of ladies forget about is carbohydrates, all right? You just worked out for 45 minutes. You burned probably 400, 500, 600, 700 calories sometimes, depending on what it is. You need more energy. You need more materials. Your body needs to replace what you just burned off. So make sure that you are getting a good post-workout carbohydrate, okay, afterwards. So the protein is good. Maybe you like to have your Afterburn shake as well, but I would also tell you, if you're in the morning, have your shake, but then have some breakfast with it. Have some fruit, have some, any sort of toast. You can have some toast with a natural nut butter on it to get a little bit of fats in there for the day. Just some ideas like that. But make sure that protein is number one, you're getting that. But number two, in a close second, you need to replace those carbohydrates, okay? Need to replace them. They are super important. I feel like, I really think that if you replace those carbs with the protein, you are going to be much more energized throughout the day. You replace what you lost and you'll feel a little bit better after that workout. So that is my post-workout meal recommendation. Again, get it in as soon as you can, but if not, that is okay. So meals for the rest of the day. Meals for the rest of the day, okay? Very good question. So you got your workout in, you got your post-workout shake and your meal in with protein and carbs, okay? Both of those. What comes after that? All right, what should the rest of my day look like? Biggest thing I like to tell people, especially if you are going for building muscle, that's what all of this is for, all right? If you are trying to build muscle, see hypertrophy, you need to be eating protein, particularly at least 20 grams, minimum 20 grams every 2 to 3 hours. okay, every 2 to 3 hours that you're awake. If you go every 3 hours, that's probably going to be a perfect set, but that'll kind of give you a good snack. It'll satiate you, and especially if you're at home, it'll kind of curb those munchies that you might be grabbing for carbs or not something great for you, right? We all have that issue sometimes. So have about 20 grams of protein per every 3 hours. So if you wake up in the morning and you have maybe 40 grams of protein right after your workout, then 3 hours later it is 10 a.m. and you have, or maybe it's lunch now. So now you have another 20, that's 60. It's 3 p.m., you have another 20, that's 80. You have dinner, you have another 40, that's 120. So if you space that protein out, it's going to be a lot easier to get. It's going to curb that appetite, that midday snacking appetite as well, and it's going to just help your body recover, okay? So give your body what it needs, supply it, and give it a constant supply throughout the day, all right? So 20 grams every 3 hours or so. And then for the rest of for your calories, just fill up your macros. Maybe one thing I like to do is maybe I'll have while I give my body in those 3 hours, that protein, I will add a carb this time. So maybe I have a protein and a carbohydrate for lunch. And then at 3 p.m. I'll have a carbohydrate, or I'll have protein, and I'll have, some fats. So maybe a spoonful of peanut butter or something like that. Something a little satiating as well. So I kind of alternate carbs, fats, and then that helps me kind of fill out the rest of my macros, get in what I need for the day, that I don't go overboard on a lot of them, and then I'm ready, so I'm well stocked. So that's what I would suggest for meals throughout the day. Eating, keeping that constant fire burning, all right, but make sure you're eating, again, whole foods, all right? The less processed you can get with foods, the better. Less processed is going to be naturally just better. If something says natural, look at the ingredients, look at what's inside of it. Are they throwing things in that you're not aware of? Good rule of thumb, if you see something on a label that you can't pronounce, that means what it's really saying is put me back on the shelf. All right, that's usually what that means, ladies. If you have a question on any of that though, come talk to your trainers. We're here to help. We have a lot of nutrition info and a lot of expertise in that area, and we would love to help you with that. So that is how you should structure your meals throughout the day. We're going to talk about one more thing right here that is arguably, I say this for everything, right? But it is super important when it comes to building muscle, when it comes to crushing those workouts, and it has to do with recovery. So last but not least, definitely not least, this is arguably one of the most important pieces of the whole puzzle: sleep. Okay, sleep. And you're thinking instantly, probably off the bat, oh my gosh, I got 4 kids. They're all home from school right now. I'm trying to homeschool. I'm still working. I'm stressed out. I can't get enough sleep, all that stuff. I hear it. I hear it, ladies. We're having focus meetings and it's a stressful time. But sleep is incredibly important in your recovery process. Sleep doesn't just stop you from moving, all right? Sleep actually starts a whole bunch of recovery processes that have to do with your body getting ready for that next day, repairing the damage from the previous day, getting ready for that next day, all right? So the biggest thing is that you have some hormonal changes in the night. So one big thing, one hormone that is really important is actually testosterone. And ladies, yes, you do have testosterone. You just have lower levels of it. All right, naturally, that's the way it goes. So your testosterone while you sleep will actually become slightly elevated. All right, it will become slightly elevated, and that testosterone is a building hormone. So when testosterone is in your system at higher levels, you will be building things. So that's where that repair comes in, all right? That cortisol level, kind of that tearing down hormone, will drop because you are not stressed at that point. So your body will go into that hyper repair mode. That is truly when your muscles will be built. So when somebody tells you that muscle is built outside of the gym, they are right. All right? But you need that internal stimulus. You need that workout to start it, but everything you do outside the gym, especially sleeping, is very important. So anything you can do to get 7 hours, 8 hours of sleep in a night consistently is going to help you, and it's going to help your workouts, no matter what your goal is. If your goal is hypertrophy or muscle growth, great. If your goal is losing weight, great. It is going to help that as well, okay? For sleeping, if you are having trouble sleeping, ladies, first of all, talk to us. We have some tips and tricks, but number one, best thing I would tell you is an hour before you go to bed, try to wind down a little bit, all right? Don't be watching movies. Try to get off your cell phone for that last hour the best that you can. Stop looking at screens. Turn off the bright lights, unlike the one that's in here. Turn on some lamps, some dimmer lights, so that your body can kind of start to understand, okay, I think it's time to wind down. Do something relaxing as well. I love to read a book at the end of my day just to kind of ease into getting ready to go to bed. So it relaxes me, but whatever that might be, just biggest thing I can tell you, try to stay away from screens and develop a routine to help your body try to understand that now it's time to sleep. So, but again, if you're having trouble finding time to sleep, getting sleep when you're there, come talk to us. We're here to help. So set up a focus meeting, ladies, but sleep, do not underestimate the importance of sleep. It is unbelievably important, and we don't talk about it nearly enough, all right? So make sure you are getting that sleep. Ladies and gents, thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope you learned something. Again, hypertrophy in the gym, everything that we do, those reps, that going to failure has to complement everything that we are doing outside of the gym, all right? Our nutrition, our pre-workout meals, the macros that we're hitting, the protein, carbs, the fats that we are getting, the energy we are supplying our body with, and the timing of those meals, and the sleep process, the recovery process, all of that has to complement everything that we do in the gym. If one is too high, if we're working out too hard, we're not eating enough, and we're not recovering enough, it is a quick downhill slope from there, and we do not want you to hit that point. So come talk to us. We're here to help you find that balance, especially in this crazy, crazy time that we have right now with this virus. So ladies, sign up for a focus meeting. If something intrigued you from this video, sign up for a focus meeting. You've heard me say it, probably 10 times in this video, but we would love to talk to you. We'd love to help you, even if it's just a chit chat, all right? Sign up for a focus meeting. We want to be there for you, all right? If you have any questions, ladies, feel free to reach out to me. I'm Kevin. You can find me on Facebook and I'm on the Eau Claire page too. So reach out if you have any questions. Otherwise, talk to your trainer. But thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Keep crushing those goals and keep coming to those Zoom workouts, those live ones with Devin and Morgan. You are making a big difference right now when it comes to your health, when it comes to your mental health, and when it comes to building muscle and achieving your goals. So keep it up, ladies. We are so stinking proud of you. All right, you're doing awesome. And yeah, that's all I have for you today. So have a great day, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.